And welcome to the third episode of the Real Serious Podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, along with Charles. Charles, how are you?
Good. Doing well. Kind of cold, but fine otherwise.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Midwest is very cold right now, and our pipes froze yesterday.
And so our house has not heated properly forever, so that
hurts. We had no water for the majority of the day.
A morale dampener, for sure.
No, big time. Before we get into everything, I want to just do a quick thank you for everyone who's been listening. It's doing a lot better than we expected just for being a starting off podcast. So thank you for those giving us 5 stars. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we think we deserve it, but it's great to hear other people think that we deserve it as well. And big news, now we're on YouTube. So some of you are seeing our faces right now talking. And if you haven't, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, as real YouTubers say. But no, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
Big time. Big time.
So Charles, a lot of news this week. This is so far the most news we've ever had.
I know our thumbnail is just packed. It's chunky.
No.
There's no blank space.
I had to cut some stuff because the thumbnail was too packed.
Uh-huh.
So what do you want to start with first? I assume, knowing you want to start with How to Train Your Dragon.
I do, and it's also at the top of the list, so might as well begin there.
Well, please explain why How to Train Your Dragon is in the news.
Well, How to Train Your Dragon. When did the third one release? So there are 3 How to Train Your Dragon movies. Do you know when the third one released? Probably early.
I believe 2018.
Oh, that recently? Okay. How to Train Your Dragon. The first one is getting a live action remake, which is huge. I think they're bringing a lot of the original cast in, or a lot of the original voices, to actually play the characters, which is really great news. I think they've leaked some of the dragons that are going to be, like, what they're going to look like, too, and they look great. Am I wrong about that? Maybe I'm getting mixed up with something.
No, that is true. They did some concept art that came out. So it's written and directed by the same man, who is Dean DeBoyles, who has, let's see what he's also done. He was the writer and, let's see if he was the director. He was the writer and director of the other How to Train Your Dragon movies. So if he could do it in animation, let's see if he can do it in live action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it's huge.
I think it's going to be pretty good. So a lot of the adults are coming back. So like Gerard Butler as the dad and Nick Frost as whoever Gobber was. I don't remember these movies.
Have you seen them?
And I've seen the first one.
Okay.
I was more of a Shrek child than How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
Okay. I was more of a Kung Fu Panda kind of guy, as you saw last week in my anticipated rankings. But
yeah.
But I saw these pretty recently, and I was a huge fan, really big fan. So I'm pretty stoked about this. And if they have the original cast, then I think it's going to be really good.
No, I think it's going to be pretty good as well. And I'm excited for it. I think it comes out next year, so fingers crossed it's good. But yeah, I'll have to wait and see. So going from news that's for you, now it's time for news that's for me, because let's talk some Daredevil. So last week we kind of talked about it a little bit. Daredevil coming back, obviously, with Daredevil Born Again. We talked about it in relationship to Echo and how Echo was decent, but not really what we wanted. So Daredevil has now been reached.
Decent's generous.
Decent is generous. I know. The more I sit with it, the worse I think it's just... But now that we've kind of sat with it, and Marvel apparently has too, they have scrapped and redone all of Daredevil Season 4 or Daredevil Born Again. So it was supposed to be 18 episodes. It was supposed to be a brand new story, kind of a soft reboot for the character. And now they've kind of gone back to the drawing board and are like, hang on. Turns out those first 3 seasons were really good television. We should try to do those again. And so they brought in a lot of the original people back. They finally agreed to bring in his 2 main co-stars, which they were going to kill in the first episode, which is just dumb.
What a novel idea. Just continuing what's successful.
It's crazy. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But no, I think that as a Daredevil fan, we're fully back. So I am very excited for that and cannot wait.
Okay, so question. So you see how Marvel is just botching all of these characters and all these shows. Granted, they haven't had extensive backstories like Daredevil, or a lot of lore like Daredevil already has, because of all the TV that's already come out about that character. Are you at all worried that they're just going to ruin this character and its legacy, or his legacy? Like everyone loves Daredevil. Everyone It's highly revered, and Marvel could just come in and completely torch it. Are you at all worried?
No, I'm a little worried. I think that I'm worried they're gonna avoid. Here's why I'm worried. When you watched Moon Knight, one of the interesting things about Moon Knight is his connection to his Jewish heritage, and they didn't really touch on it. There was a moment they touched on it, but it's like they avoided the conflict of religion, which is fine, like in a sense if you're playing it safe. But with Daredevil, you can't do that because his attachment to Catholicism is so important to who his character is, and so important to those first 3 seasons that if you just ignore that aspect, it's going to be a nightmare scenario for like whatever that show is, because it's such a big question of who he is as a character. I think the action will be great because they're bringing back the original stunt choreographer. But I'm just worried it's going to be a Babies R Us version of the Netflix show. And if it is that, I don't know. I almost don't even want it. Like,
is what it is.
Do season 4 or don't do it at all is kind of my thought process, which hopefully they're understanding that that's what we need, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like nervous, but like good nervous about it.
Okay.
So we'll have to see, but no,
I mean, you'll watch it, you'll consume it regardless of whether or not it's
100%. And it's kind of
bad.
very interesting that like they brought Matt Murdock into the MCU and like the first thing he did was like get laid. So they know my boy.
Well, no, first thing he did was catch a brick.
Yeah, no, he was there. So of like the 4 projects he's been in, he's been the best part of 3 of the 4. So my man rocks. Yeah, so no, I'll take any more Daredevil I can get. But yeah, so that was the Daredevil news.
Speaking of getting laid.
Oh, that's wild.
Well, that's part of our news.
Which one?
She-Hulk.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Snowball into She-Hulk.
That was good.
Transition.
Charles, I'm going to ask you a question here about She-Hulk. If you had to guess how much She-Hulk cost, how much would you say it cost to make? A 6-episode sitcom on a streaming service.
I'm trying to think. Like, the only special effects were done on her when she had to transform.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. Like, give me some other ballparks. Like, what are some other TV shows and how much did they cost?
All right, I think the final seasons of Game of Thrones were like $180 million. I think like The Last of Us was like 120.
Okay.
I think, like Succession's probably in its 70s to 80s million.
I would probably, and it's only 6 episodes.
Correct.
I'd guess somewhere like 60 to 80.
60, 80 million?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Like, that's a fair guess. Right?
That's probably the number it should have been, but I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It is $225 million.
Ain't no way. There's no way.
It cost almost $250 million
How?
to make She-Hulk season 1. Couldn't tell you. Now let me put a little cherry on top of this cake for you real quick. How much do you think the Avengers cost to make?
300.
More or less.
I mean, I'd have to guess more.
That'd be incorrect once again. It cost $220 million to make. It cost $5 million more to make She-Hulk than the original Avengers.
And it did so much worse. And it was bad.
And so why
I guess
the
Hulk was in it too, which probably ate up some costs.
Yeah, if only the Hulk wasn't in the Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Good point.
But the reason we're talking about it is because She-Hulk will not be, according to star Tatiana Maslany, will not be returning for season 2 due to the high cost of season 1, which, honestly, not surprising. I think the show did well, like viewership-wise, but to justify that cost for another season just can't happen. It's too expensive. You got to start throwing her in movies, which I think that she is supposed to be in Captain America 4, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah,
I just don't understand what the breakdown of that would be. Of $225 million for She-Hulk? Like, what's the breakdown? What cost? What was the most expensive?
I guess her being She-Hulk was pretty expensive, but it didn't look like a show that cost $225 million. And I think that's a big problem with all the Marvel shows. Like, even I'm sure Secret Invasion cost in the 200s, and it's like, it doesn't look like it. Where's the money going?
Was She-Hulk 6 or 8 episodes?
I think 6.
Could have been 8.
I'm pretty sure 6. Let's find out. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Season 1. That was a 1 season. 8 episodes. You're correct.
Okay.
So it's 8 episodes that were like 30 minutes each, though. So it's a little... Oh, 9 episodes. 9 episodes.
Oh. So there you go.
What's well, in that case?
And they had to pay that cameo. Who was it?
Oh, the Abomination guy?
Oh, I guess, yeah, he was in it. No, was it like Cardi B or something?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, it was Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, okay.
Yes. So, very exciting news from She-Hulk. Unfortunately, we'll not be getting a Season 2. Kind of a bummer. Speaking of 2s, Fast X 2. Charles, what is your relationship with the Fast and Furious series?
I have no relationship. I haven't seen any Fast movies ever. I didn't realize until yesterday that how many Mission Impossible movies there are. I always think of Fast as like this never-ending series, but Mission Impossible is kind of getting there. Aren't there like 7 movies? Okay. Well, I'm not saying...
We're not doing Mission Impossible slander now.
I'm not slandering it. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I could get into Mission Impossible a lot easier than I would Fast X. Like, I'm just not really interested in Fast X. It's cool racing scenes, and...
So you hate family. You hate family.
Okay, that's just...
Salute me familia.
I guess so.
First and foremost.
But,
yeah.
No,
Hobbs and Shaw?
I never saw that either. Wasn't Jason Statham in one of these?
Yeah, he was the villain in 7, and then he became kind of a good guy in 8, and then they gave him a spinoff.
Yeah, so, okay. See, it's just silly.
Maybe when you get to the high cinema sophisticated level like myself, you'll appreciate these movies. But the news is they're going back to basics with Fast X2, which I'm actually pretty excited about.
Back to basics?
Oh, yeah. So they're doing a smaller budget, which for them is $200 million. And basically, instead of doing a huge globe-trotting thing, they're going to focus more on the racing, more on the story, and focus more on family for Fast X2, which is apparently the last installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, which, I hate to say it, I'm sad to see go.
Until they make a spinoff.
Oh, yeah, no, Hobbs and Shaw 2 will be coming for sure. We'll just have to wait for it, but no. I think this is a good idea. I think one of the big complaints about Fast and Furious is that it got too over the top. I mean, you started off with movies where they stole, like, VHS tapes and VHS players, and now you're at movies where, like, The Rock changes the trajectory of rockets with his hands, and they went to space.
Yeah, that sounds
not
pretty
bad.
Cool. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Not bad things, but I think you kind of lost the sauce and jumped the shark a little bit there. But no, I'm excited for it. I will be seated for Fast and Furious X2, whatever they call it. But yeah, that is our Fast and Furious news. And you should probably watch those movies.
Yeah, maybe I'll run a marathon in anticipation
really good
for this movie. Just like
I'll do
Mission Impossible marathon. Because I've only seen Fallout, I think. Which is your favorite, right?
It's my 4th favorite movie of all time. It is my favorite action movie ever. I think it is the perfect action movie on all levels. Which is... man, now I want to watch that. Maybe I'll watch that today. Speaking of Mission Impossible, so Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 came out last summer to a slightly underwhelming box office, most likely due to the fact that they put it the week before Barbenheimer came out and shocked the world. Not the best strategic location to drop a movie. But instead of now Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, it has been retitled to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which is interesting since the movie ends with the title card, End of Part 1. So
that is interesting.
Yes. A little weird they're doing that, especially since we know Part 2 is already filming and coming. Will it be something different? What's the point of this? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't really know why this would occur. But yeah, very silly in my opinion to change the name.
I had a question I was thinking about it a couple days ago. So you have all these movies winning awards, right? Mm-hmm. And all the award ceremonies are beginning of the following year in recognition of the past year, you know? What is, like, statistically, historically, what is the optimal time to release a movie to get the most accolades and receive the most recognition at an award ceremony?
That is a great question. So there's there's like 4 parts of the year. There's the beginning part, which is January, February. That's kind of where they send movies to die, which we'll talk about later with our I.S.S. review. But that's where studios put movies that they don't really believe in. So a lot of times movies will go there that, like, hey, they may succeed, they may not, we don't really know. They'll send them February, March. February through March. Then, starting kind of April, May, June, July, that's blockbuster season. That's where your big movies come out. Usually Marvel starts. Yes. Usually Marvel or something like that starts off that kind of kickoff to summer. Here come all the big movies. And then the summer season is usually a lot of your big movies. Then, starting off kind of October, November, December is when people start to call it more award season-y movies. So you're going to see a lot more serious adult dramas, serious period pieces, things like that. So usually around November, December, if your movie comes out then, that is when you're kind of in the heat of award season. So that's why things like The Holdovers, you saw this last year, a couple other releases came out like around that time, because the issue is these awards are almost always voted on by people who just go see the movie. They're random people. A lot of times they're in the Academy or other things like that, but for them, it's recency bias. You see something in January, you forget about it by the time next January rolls around, but you see something in December, and now you're in January, and you go, oh, I remember that. I liked that, and you vote for it. There's exceptions to every rule, though. Like Oppenheimer, big awards movie, came out in the middle of summer. That's because it was treated like a blockbuster, but still. So there's kind of those different sections of the year where things come out.
Cool. Thanks.
And that was a movie minute with Hunter, where I taught you something.
That was good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
We have a lot of video game news to talk about because video games are getting made into movies. So our first one is Minecraft. So Minecraft is coming out in 2025. They've started to film. It is directed by Jared Hess, who has brought us such films as Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, which kind of rocks. And if you think about it, this sounds kind of amazing. Here's a little rundown of the cast. We have Jason Momoa, Jack Black, who apparently was playing Steve.
That is the best thing ever.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge and Kate McKinnon. So, kind of rocks.
Look, I'm going to be real. I'm not a fan of these video game movies.
Oh.
I'm just not a fan. And, that's saying something because we're both pretty big video game guys. Super Mario movie, I went in like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And, there were some cool Easter eggs, but, it's just not really a great movie. And I guess that's not the point. The point is to make it a fun movie. But, Minecraft, the problem I have with this is they did regular Minecraft, they did Minecraft Dungeons, they did Minecraft Story Mode, and nothing has really hit the same as just plain old vanilla Minecraft. That's my jam.
Agree.
Maybe other people disagree. Yeah. I was never a big fan of those spin-offs. And I feel like the Minecraft movie is just their next attempt to do something, I don't know, obscure with the name Minecraft. And I'm just not a big fan of it. If Jack Black's in it, it'll probably be funny. We'll probably get a really great song out of it. But, I'm just not a huge fan. I'm just not a big fan. That's just what I think, though.
I think that of all of the movies that could become video games could become movies, there's a few that could work really well. I think that those that are story-based, first-person, and Zelda, which is coming out in a few years.
I think Zelda would be good.
I think that games that are like Minecraft, like Terraria, things that are more just go wander, just don't work. And that's not a testament to the lack of, actors and directors out there and writers that cannot make it work. It's just when you want to go see a video game movie, you want it to feel like the video game. and doing it like that in a game that's so creative is going to be really hard. Now, it's not impossible. I think that this has a shot to be really good, but it's more unlikely than not. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Like Wreck-It Ralph. That was good. But that wasn't like a video game movie. That was just everything retro video gaming combined into one. And that was really cool because you had a story and you also had the Easter eggs. And it was cohesive. They worked well together. You know?
No, I agree. And I think that that's a big thing that this movie doesn't really have going for it. Especially live action. Like, how are you going to do this? You're going to make everyone blocky? Like, I don't know.
Oh, it's live action?
It's live action.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be a cartoon.
I cannot wait to see live action Villagers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So kind of going along the lines of our video games, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. News there. Yeah.
Not good.
News there. Not good. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of the only movies I ever almost walked out on. I didn't.
Weren't you with Henry?
I was. And he and I almost walked out on it. But now they're doing a Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie, who apparently, rumor says, is going to be voiced by the one and only Hayden Christensen. And verbal meme, just when I thought I was out, they pull me right back in.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to see how this goes.
Yeah. Has he done anything since Star Wars?
I mean,
I feel like this appeals to only Star Wars fans, because all the Sonic fans quit with Sonic 2, because that movie was...
Oh, no. Whoa, hang on. Sonic fans were fully bought in on Sonic 2. I was fully out on Sonic 2.
Oh, okay.
No, Sonic fans loved Sonic 2.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It was just me who was out. Yeah.
I thought Sonic 2 was widely kind of just... Like, everyone hated it.
Sonic 2 was just has a bad movie. 70 on Rotten Tomatoes with a 96 audience score.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
And made $400 million at the box office.
Never mind.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Definitely not me.
Not me. Then I take back everything I said.
Yeah, no, it just wasn't for me, which is fine. But I don't know. I'm interested in this, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be great. I know they're already doing a Knuckles TV show. Look, if it's successful for them, it's a kid's show. It's for them. Like, that's awesome. I don't know. I just think you have an opportunity to do really cool stuff with Sonic, and they just chose not to.
Yeah. Yeah. Another problem I have with video game movies is it's not very creative. Like, I like new ideas, new concepts, new movies brought to light. You know, and all these just old video games that they're making movies, I think it's kind of lazy. Like, the reason why I was so excited for I.S.S. was because I was like, whoa, I've never, like, this is a really cool concept. Did they capitalize on the concept well? No. But it was still a really cool concept. Yeah. It was creative, and I was excited to watch it because of that.
Yeah, no. We'll get into I.S.S. soon because I have many, many thoughts. But, no, I kind of agree. I actually more disagree, I guess, than agree. Because I think that there's a lot of really great video games that can become movies that they choose not to do. And there's a lot of great video games that shouldn't become movies that they choose to do. And it makes no sense to me. But you never know. You never know.
Yeah. I suppose I think it's lazy. But I think that it's also lazy because they don't try to make them good movies. They just throw as many Easter eggs and as many just random things in there to appeal to video game fans as possible without making it a quality movie. Like the Super Mario Brothers movie, that movie was just had the weirdest spacing, it just went in random directions, and
I think a lot of it is like, how do you do fellow kids?
Yeah.
Instead of like actually trying to do like something interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was our video game talk. Now for a movie that's based on a game that exists. I think. Tron 3. Have you ever seen Tron Legacy, Charles?
No.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Tron, like Charles, Tron is a movie that came out in the 80s that Disney decided to do to kind of try to do their own Star Wars. And it didn't really work all that well, but it kind of had a cult following. So then in 2011, I want to say, Disney said, hey, let's do it again. And they made Tron Legacy, a 30-some-odd year later sequel that was pretty good, like quite good. Like I think I gave it 4 stars. And it was directed by the same guy who brought us Top Gun Maverick. And then they were like, oh, we should do a sequel to that. And then they haven't. And so now, another decade and some change later, they're doing Tron 3, starring Jared Leto, which, sick. It's like...
Nice.
I don't know, yeah, like what are we doing here? They just started filming, I think, literally yesterday, so I don't know. I'm kind of out on this already, but we'll see.
I'm not gonna say I'm out or in until I've seen Tron Legacy and the original Tron. I remember seeing it when I was younger, like seeing, I think, ads for Tron, seeing action figures, and I thought it looked cool. And I think the fight sequences don't they have like glowing
they have discs. And they have the light
yes.
cycles. Yeah. It's super sweet.
Yeah.
But this one is not directed by the same man who brought us the last one and who brought us Top Gun Maverick. Instead, it is brought to us by, let's find this gentleman's name, Joachim Ronig, who brought us such movies as Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. So, real good track record here from this guy. I don't know. The only thing that's kind of keeping me interested in this is the concept and also the cast, because Jared Leto's in it. Who are we not fans of as a podcast? I'm not a big fan of Jared Leto.
I don't think I'm familiar enough with his work to have an opinion.
He's kind of a weirdo. But Cameron Moynihan and Evan Peters are in it, who I really like.
Evan Peters plays Quicksilver in...
Correct. And Cameron Moynihan plays...
Wasn't he Downward too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think of things that you would know Cameron Moynihan from. He's in the Star Wars video game. He's like that guy. That like
Cal?
That new... Yeah, Cal Kestis. Also, Greta Lee's in this movie. And this, I think, is a starring role for her, which is exciting because I think she was really quite good in past lives. So, kind of exciting.
I'm in. You might be out. I'm in. I'll see it. I mean, we'll probably both see it, but...
Oh, no, we're going to see this. This is going to be on the pod. We're going to talk about this one.
When is it released?
I wonder how... 2025?
Okay.
Next year. I wonder how Jared Leto's going to go method with this. Like, is he going to go, like, try to put himself into a video game or something? Just to be, like, fully engraved.
He's method?
Experience. Did you not know this?
No.
So you don't know the Suicide Squad stuff?
No.
Oh, okay. Pausing. I have to get the exact list.
Is this where we find he's a weirdo?
Okay. I always knew he was a little bit of a weirdo. Okay, so Jared Leto on the set of Suicide Squad reportedly sent his co-stars crazy stuff like a mouse, sent them like rats because he was playing the role of Joker and wanted to really get involved, which is so strange.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He's a little bit of weird. So, kind of weird.
Yeah, maybe I'm out on Jared Leto too.
Oh, also, do you know that okay, I gotta find this. I want to find it as well. So he did a movie where he was playing he played this role in Chaplin. Let's see. I want to find the exact movie. So he had to gain a bunch of weight for this role, right? Oh yeah, it's called Chapter 27. So Chapter 27 was supposed to be this movie where he could like maybe win an Oscar. it was about the murder of John Lennon by David Chapman. And so Jared Leto played David Chapman, who killed John Lennon. And so he had to gain a bunch of weight for it. And so how would you gain weight for it, Charles? Because he did something very dumb.
I'd probably just eat a lot. Calorie surplus every day.
He gained 65 pounds by eating pizza and burgers, and he would microwave chocolate ice cream. Pints of chocolate ice cream, and drink 2 of those a day.
Ew. What?
Isn't that wild?
Ew.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy is a little out
there. I mean, I feel like all method actors are a little... Like, they do some crazy stuff.
I don't know. That one I think is pushing it a little bit.
I mean, yeah, but, like... He probably gained the weight really fast, so... Props to him.
So true.
True. Props to him.
Props to him for that one.
He knew what he was doing.
All right. Sundance is happening this weekend. Very exciting. Sundance, for all of those who don't know, is probably the premier film festival in America. So some things that are playing there right now are a new movie called A Real Pain, which, let's see, about... So it's Jesse Eisenberg who's directing and wrote this, also starring in it. With him, this is kind of like the premiere one, I think, of this, thing and this showcase. So
the headliner.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Headliner. There's a few other ones that are pretty cool. Between the Temples is supposed to be quite good. Pony Boy is supposed to be also a very good movie. And the one that I specifically am excited for is the one that is about the female bodybuilder. Let me find what that one's called. Oh, also, I Saw the TV Glow is apparently incredible. But the one I'm most excited for is called Love Lies Bleeding. It's about a gym manager who falls hard for this bodybuilder, and they kind of go on like this weird, violent turn of a criminal family. Kind of sounds great and looks pretty awesome. So we'll kind of get all these reports out of here next week and see what everyone thought of these movies.
And then these will release to theaters?
Yeah, they'll release in different things. This is kind of a way for companies to buy these movies sometimes, so they'll get distribution rights and things like that.
And then they'll probably release this year and kind of intermittently. Like, they're not going to release all at the same time, right?
No, they'll release this year throughout the year, which will be exciting. Okay, so
cool.
A lot of great stuff comes from this. This is how a lot of directors and writers are found and new actors, so really exciting time for people, especially if you're really into the future of cinema. But yeah, that was a Sundance talk. We don't have a lot to talk about with it. But back to TV, White Lotus Season 3, which, great show. All-time theme song. It's like... Dude, it's so good. You gotta watch it.
So I actually didn't hear any of that.
Oh, well, you're missing out. White Lotus Season 3... So, anthology show, new cast every single year. So this year, joining the cast is Walton Goggins, Patrick Schwarzenegger, Leslie Bibb, Michelle Monaghan. So, pretty great cast so far. Excited to see who else joins this cast as it goes along. But yeah, I hope they're in the snow. Hope it's like a snowy place they go to. So, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you seem very excited for this.
I've never seen White Lotus.
Did you guys start watching some more stuff?
I know.
All right. Now something you do know a little bit about. Spider-Man 4.
Yes.
Spider-Man 4 is coming out soonish, probably in the next 2 years.
This is going to be Tom Holland, right?
Correct. Tom Holland, Spider-Man 4. I assume they're going to start filming hopefully later this year, and with the release date of maybe next Christmas, since it seems like that is a great window for Spider-Man to come out, since it made all of the money when it came out at Christmas time.
Now, I also heard that this Spider-Man 4 allegedly is going to bring Sony's spin-off movies into the MCU. So, like Venom, Madam Web, Morbius, if they want to bring him in. That's what I heard.
PU. That stinks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but do you think that's going to happen?
I think Venom, no. Because of the
really?
way that No Way Home ended with Venom coming to the MCU, leaving a piece of Venom behind, and then Venom left. So
yeah.
I think that for sure is no. I think the bigger question is probably a multiversal Sinister Six that comes after Spider-Man. But if I have to guess, I'm going to say no. Due to the fact that Spider-Man in and of itself is very easily sold. Nobody wants to see Morbius again. Nobody's really interested maybe in seeing Kraven. We'll have to see when the movie comes out in October, but yikes. And just give him his own villains. Why do we have to make everyone an anti-hero? That's the thing. Oh, okay, cool. They come in and fight Spider-Man, but we just spent 3 movies with people where they're kind of good guys. So why are they now all against Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's fair.
But speaking of Spider-Man 4 villains, it's supposed to be a villain that we've never seen on screen in live action before. So I have 2 guesses. One is Scorpion.
Yeah.
Who we've already seen in the MCU but haven't fully seen suited up, so it would make sense. Also, it finally.
Who have we seen in the MCU that's Scorpion?
In Spider-Man Homecoming, the man who went to jail and at the end of the movie was talking to Vulture and was like, "You know who Spider-Man is?" He's like, "I don't." That is Scorpion.
How do you know?
Because that's who he is in the comics, and that's what his name is.
Oh.
And that's what they're setting up and teasing. I also think that a great choice would be Mr. Negative.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Which would be a great, especially since they already set up Feast in the last movie. You could set up Mr. Negative and owning Feast. So I think there's a lot of great choices. I think it's smart to do something we haven't seen before. It just kind of
Hobgoblin, Rhino. Could it be either of them?
Yeah. Well, Rhino's gonna be the main villain in Kraven, which is done.
Oh, okay.
So here's my issue: you're wasting all these great Spider-Man villains on spin-offs. We're gonna be stuck with Big Wheel in Spider-Man 5. It's just dumb. But I don't know. This is our prayer circle. Bring in Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. Prayer circle complete. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think Spider-Man 4 is gonna be incredible. I think Tom Holland. The biggest thing that I can say about Tom Holland is that he clearly protects the character. I think that's really interesting. From us, no one, even Robert Downey Jr. didn't really do it to the level of protection of a character in the way that Tom Holland does, where he knows what Spider-Man is and knows what it isn't. And when they try to force what it isn't on him, he really retracts and backs up, which I think is really smart because he kind of has all the power in this relationship. So we'll have to see who they pick for Spider-Man 4, but sign me up. But now I think we're on our last little bit of news, and that is
the best.
Wizards of Waverly Place is coming back.
Stoked. I'm stoked.
Stoked for Wizards of Waverly Place. So the rumor is right now basically that it's going to be about Justin, who is now the Chancellor of WizTech. Right? Isn't that what it's called?
No idea.
Who knows? It's been a long time. But basically he's in charge of WizTech, and he's got 2 boys, and he's training them to be the next generation of Russo family wizards. Selena Gomez will be showing up in the pilot episode, along with maybe some smaller here and there's throughout the rest of the show. No news on anyone else yet. But yeah, no, this sounds pretty great. I'm excited for it.
So, I can't remember, at the end of the original Wizards, was Justin the family wizard? Because you know how there's one wizard that becomes the family wizard, then the other 2 lose their powers.
Correct. Right? So Alex won the family wizard competition at the end of the show. Okay. Alex wins. She becomes this family wizard, but then that old kind of Dumbledore knockoff guy was like, I'm going to retire. So, Justin, why don't you become my successor? So then Justin also gets powers, and Max gets the sub shop.
That all occurs in the original Wizards in the last episode?
Correct, in the last episode.
This isn't speculation or...
No, that is literally what happens in the last episode of Wizards.
Oh, okay, cool.
So Alex is the family wizard, and Max gets the sub shop, and
Max gets the morsels.
Yeah, basically. He gets
the crumbs left behind.
Yeah, but this sounds pretty great. I think you can do a lot with it. I hope it's done well. I don't know. I hope it's a little bit more. I hope it gears towards the older audience, because it's pretty clear that who they're trying to get to watch this again, which is the older audience.
The people that grew up watching, yeah.
Yeah, so just make it a little bit more, I don't know, older.
PG-13.
Yeah, don't be shy with it.
Yeah.
But actually, Charles, we have an exclusive clip of the first episode of Waverly Place, the reboot. Our friends over at Disney, they know we're a big podcast. So they wanted us to help promote this show. And so we'll put that in here now, just so that you can get a taste of what this show might be like. Oh my gosh, Alex, how are you? It's been so long. Oh my gosh, hi Justin. Yeah, no, it's been a while. I've obviously just been, doing my wizarding stuff around the world, and I really haven't a chance to come home. Yeah, no, neither have I. The kid's been busy. I'm teaching at Wiz Tech, so it's been a lot, but I'm glad we could come back to the sub shop and see Max now. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, there he is. Hey, yo, let me get 2 orders of pastrami. I need a roast beef on rye, and who let you toes in? Max, how are you? It's so good to see you. No, you toes get out of here. I don't ever want to see you toes again. Max, what's wrong? Yeah, Max, why are you so angry at us? No, there's a reason I haven't talked to you two since that goddamn wizard tournament. You two cheated. There was supposed to be 1 family wizard and 2 regulars, and now it's just me. You cheated because now you got some fancy pants job where you get to do wizard for a living, and you, Alex, you just get to prance around the world doing your wizard stuff, while little old Max is stuck here at this goddamn sandwich shop. Max, I thought you loved this sandwich shop. This is our family business. Oh, it's a family business? Then where's my family been? Because after Dad died, Mom doesn't do much but sit upstairs and drink, and now it's just you two and me. And where have you two been? Anywhere but here. Hey. No pickle with that. They didn't pay for pickle. Alright, now you two listen to me. I don't want to see you here. You two get to do magic, and I'm up at 4 a.m. making subs. I go to sleep at 2 a.m. thinking about subs. Oh, Max, why don't you have kids? Oh, well, let me tell you, because I'm stuck in this sandwich shop every single day. I cannot escape this sandwich shop for the life of me. Because, Max didn't get powers, he gets a sandwich shop. What do you think I wanted? A sandwich shop? Or wizarding powers? Use your brain. Unbelievable, you two. So why don't you just leave, use your powers somewhere else, and let me do my thing? Max, this is... I had no idea. If you needed help, you should have asked. Oh, really? How's your reception over there at WizTech? Let me just call my cellular provider and get an extension to the wizarding world. No. Wrong. Not doing that, alright? You two get out of here. I need to go refill the mustards. And hey, maybe just go be depressed again, because that's all I do every single day. I'm tired of you two. Get the hell out of here. Oh my god, Max. I had no idea. Yeah, geez, Max. Doesn't sound like you want to be in the reboot. Get the hell out of here. I mean, I think that sounded great.
I still can't believe how lucky we've been getting all these sneak peeks.
No, it's really, and you know what it is? It's thanks to the audience. The audience, the large audience we have allows us to have these opportunities, and we just want to say thank you once again for listening, because it really helps us have these kind of opportunities on the show.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. No, thank you. But that was it for news. So, round of applause. Great job. We got through all that news that we had so much of. Now let's talk about something so fun. Let's talk about I.S.S.
I.S.S.
Yes. What's this movie about, Charles?
So the I.S.S. is the International Space Station. Basically, after the Cold War, the U.S. and Russia collaborated on the I.S.S., and they each send, there are 6 total inhabitants, I guess you can call it. There are 6 total people that live aboard the I.S.S. in space, and it's 3 Americans and 3 Russians. And the whole point of it is to basically commend collaboration and teamwork, working together, and just show that the ties are strong between Russia and America, and there's peace, right? But The problem, so ISS, the movie's about there's a nuclear war on the surface of Earth between the U.S. and Russia, and then the U.S. sends their 3 Americans an order to take control of the ISS by any means necessary, and the Russians also receive that order from their government. And so the movie's kind of just about, because these are all good friends, they've lived in close quarters for months. The movie's about the 6 of them and how they respond to getting orders from their government, ultimately the people that they serve, and how they navigate next steps, knowing that they're pretty much aboard with their quote-unquote enemies now.
Yeah. And oh boy, is it not good.
Okay. Do you want to go first or me?
Yeah.
Or are we going to have like a...
We'll do a little discussion.
Okay.
But I'll go first with fast thoughts. I think the concept is great. I think the concept is very interesting. I think the execution is quite poor. I gave this 2 stars on Letterboxd, and my review is January movies strike again. It's just not very good. I think that I can see what they're going for, but one of my main issues is honestly with casting. There's a few people in this movie who are supposed to be like menacing characters, and they just casted them as like weaker looking people. I think Ariana DeBose is fine in this role. I wish that she was a little bit more strong. I think that it would be really interesting if she was a little bit more of a badass. But it's just such a disappointing execution after what could have been a very interesting concept. And after you give your review, I want to just say a few things that I would change that I think would make this a lot better. Okay.
Okay, so I agree with the beginning of what you said. I think it's a really interesting concept. I give it 3 stars on Letterboxd. I think it's a really interesting concept. That's why I was really excited going into it. I think I was the one that brought up, let's go see this movie, and you were like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I do think that the execution was underwhelming. I don't think it was as bad as you make it out to be. I disagree that these characters, just to avoid spoiling, I disagree when you say that some of these characters should be intimidating, because ultimately these are scientists. They're not fighters. They're not, soldiers. They're not supposed to be intimidating. They've literally never been violent, and it is kind of obvious when they start going about sabotaging, that they don't really know how to do it, and they're just like kind of going blind, So I don't think they should be intimidating.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to fight. And Ariana DeBose's character, I also don't think that she should... I mean, I think she's plenty strong. She's kind of the main character in this movie. And the whole thing is she's coming aboard the ISS after having never been on it before. Like, the other 5 people have been on it before, and she's coming on for the first time, So she's still trying to meet everyone, and it's like, it's scary meeting everyone and living with them for the first time. So... And all things considered, I like that she was optimistic, and tried to see the better in people. And then when that failed, then she started kind of taking things a little more seriously. I don't think that she should be this badass woman, because I don't know, I just don't see that as her character. She tried to avoid conflict as much as possible, and I think that's good.
Maybe I just wanted her to be more like Ellen Ripley than she was. Okay, but here are my 2 things that I would have changed, and I think it would have been a lot better.
I'll probably agree with these.
I think, number 1, there should have been a question if there was a war to begin with. I think it would have been vastly more interesting if they didn't have the ability to just go up and look at the Earth and see that there was literally nuclear explosions everywhere, but they just got those messages, and there was this question of, is this real? Is this not real? And you could see people start to actually freak out. Where when they look outside and they see the world is over, it's pretty cut and dry that this is happening. Where if there was more of a question to is it happening, that would have been more interesting in my opinion. I think another thing that would have been interesting to change is if when they were all going back and forth of like, oh, we got to eliminate one person, they eliminate the other person, is having a little bit more of an ability to see the solution at the end of the day. Like, I think the ending was quite poor because the world below is destroyed. Like, they kept showing the shots of the Earth, and looks like lava is everywhere because it's just glowing fire. Like, there is nothing to really return to, and they're like, oh, we have to go back to give these people, like, these pills that can make them not have radiation sickness. It's like, they're gone. Like, they're just gone.
Yeah, they might be done.
So, I think that there was a point where it had been like, what are you even fighting for? Like, what are you going back to? Like, if it was a little bit less destruction on Earth, you would have been like, okay, yeah, the cities are gone, but there's still people there. There's still stuff to fight for, where it just looked like everything was red and gone.
Yeah, it looked like the sun.
Yes, which is
it was
just,
pretty red. So I honestly agree with that first one. I think that would have been really interesting if you couldn't see Earth and they're just like, what? Like, we just got this transcript, we're not allowed to talk about it. The problem I had with it was, I'm not going to say which team struck first. I feel like that's not a spoiler. Obviously, one team had to strike first. I'm not going to say which one. I don't like how there wasn't really a lot of thought behind it. It wasn't like, well, these are our friends. Like, maybe we should think about this, have a conversation with them first. They just immediately started distrusting each other and started swinging. Like, they didn't start swinging per se, but they started, sabotaging. And I just think, if you've been aboard for months and it shows the night before they're all hanging out and partying and having a good time, it's hard to think that they would immediately start trying to kill each other.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting concept. I think the issue for me also was, I don't care. I'm going to spoil this movie. It made like $3 million. I don't think anyone's really going to see it. The way that they wanted to kill that first guy, where they just pushed him out into space, that is insanely messed up. Like, of all of the ways that you could kill someone, especially if they're your friend and you're like, okay, maybe I'll make it easier for them so it's like, quick. That was the worst way to go about it. Like, he would have been floating out there if he didn't somehow grab onto that in the last second. He would have been floating out there for hours just waiting to, like, have his life support run out, which is insanely messed
8
up.
hours. They said he would have been drowning for 8 hours.
Which is terrifying to think about.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, no, this movie did not make me want to go to space. That's for sure. It's a wasted concept that is really interesting, that I think the execution is quite poor.
Yeah.
But, and the ending sucked.
The ending was really lame. I was thinking about it like, okay, you have these people left now. You're not going to fight each other. What now? And then, the ending was just like, okay. Cool.
The ending was not great. And I think a big thing with the ending is, like, I get what they were doing. It's like, oh, neither side really won. It was humanity that won. But, like, it never felt like that. It never felt like there was hope. It felt like there was just all this negative, like, oh, I don't know what we're going back to. I can tell you're going back to fire, because that's all it looked like it was down on Earth. So, I don't know.
Well, our spoiler-free review has now been riddled with spoilers, but is what it is.
Real stinker. I don't know. I kind of want to lower my score to like a 1.5.
I'm going to keep it at a 3. I enjoyed watching it.
Hey, you did.
A lot of missed opportunities, but
yes, big time.
That's what it is.
So yeah, now let's get into our draft, because we were inspired by space movies, thanks to I.S.S.
Thanks, I.S.S.
Thanks, I.S.S.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Star Wars. So we're going to rank all of our Star Wars movies. That would be 11 of them. We are not going to include the Clone Wars animated movie, just because I think we're just going to focus on live action. And this is the mainline movies, so none of the Ewok spin-off movies. This is just the main 9 Star Wars movies, Rogue One, and Solo. That's all she wrote. So, very exciting. Maybe do you want to do like a first quick, what is our relationship with Star Wars?
Sure.
Okay. I can go first. My relationship with Star Wars is I really like Star Wars. I am not a Star Wars super fan like a lot of people are. I think Star Wars is amazing for the time, and I think that one of the big things about it is that it can evolve with the times. And you'll see that reflected in my choices. But I think that there's a lot of potential here with Star Wars that is not utilized. And I think that Star Wars can be so much more than it is. And that's my relationship with Star Wars.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I also am not a super fan. I watch them. I enjoy them. I like listening about the lore too, and theories. But that being said, I'm not a super fan. Like I have some friends back home who are like really, really into it, and I can't really keep up with them, and I don't really have the desire to keep up with them because I'm kind of just a casual watcher.
A lot to catch up on.
Yeah, there's a lot of books too. But I don't share the sentiment that there's a lot you can do with Star Wars. I'm kind of more of a traditional Star Wars fan. I really like the original trilogy. I really like the prequels. I do not like the sequels. I'm not a huge fan of some of the spin-offs, but they're fine. And I'm not really enjoying a lot of the shows. I know, Hunter, you've been like talking about what you like about the shows, and I'm just not really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, the shows will not be in our ranking because it's just a lot. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. The only show that I liked a lot was the Clone Wars because I feel like it expanded on some of the characters that were already in the prequels, you know, and just gave us a little more context. They're also interesting stories, and I like the Mandalorian, but I don't know, some of the new stuff like Boba Fett, not a big fan. Ahsoka was fine. I'm more of kind of a traditional Star Wars fan.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Mando season 1 and 2. Like, I liked Ahsoka a lot. I really liked Andor. Like, really liked Andor. But yeah, okay, let's get into this.
Cool.
Charles, do you want to go first with your number 11?
Starting with 11? Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll go bottom up. We'll start with 11.
My 11, I don't think it'll come as a surprise to many. The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh.
Episode 9.
Episode 9. The end of the Skywalker saga.
That movie was stinky poo-poo garbage.
Yep.
It sucked. Yeah, I mean, they basically just contradicted themselves and everything. Like, Palpatine came back. So the original trilogy was for nothing.
They fly now.
They fly now. Horrible script. Horrible just everything. The kiss at the end. Bruh. Come on. Like, that movie was just a pile of shit. That sucked.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you there. Not my number 11.
Okay.
My number 11 is Attack of the Clones.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Attack of the Clones is everything that's wrong with Star Wars. I think it is the epitome of what makes the prequel trilogy so bad. Sure, there's some good moments in it. It gave us a great Lego Star Wars game and levels, but
and some great sets.
Not good. It is really not good. I would go as far as to say it is the only Star Wars movie that is objectively bad.
Oof.
I think a lot of yeah.
I don't know about that.
But no, this one is a real stinker. And honestly, when I watch the prequels, I usually skip this one. So yeah, that's my number 11. Is Attack of the Clones.
Okay, that's all right.
Number 10.
Number 10, I have The Last Jedi, which you're not going to be happy about, but so I think The Last Jedi is also horrible. Also dog shit. Hunter loves this one, and we'll see that later. But just
Spoilers.
Same thing. Yeah, spoiler. That's my bad. That's on me. I just, this movie's kind of nothing to me. Luke's character, you have him as this like the savior of the universe, and now all of a sudden he's a hermit. And yeah, I get that it's because of what happened when he was training the next line of Jedi, but it just doesn't make sense that he's a hermit now. He's really hesitant to help Rey. I don't really love Rey's character. I love Finn's character, but he was just off on this like random tangent on a world that I wasn't really that into. The whole storyline is they're just trying to run away in hyperspace. Like nothing really happens besides Rey getting the Force and Luke coming to help. So I don't know. Just not a big fan at all.
I'll talk about that movie a little later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you will.
How later? Who knows?
Yeah.
My number 10 is The Phantom Menace. real not good. The only good thing in it is Duel of the Fates and the pod racing scene. Midichlorians stink real bad.
I disagree.
Midichlorians are the worst, and so I am anti this movie. This is also a thing about Star Wars that I find really interesting, is like amazing characters that live on in fans that when you watch their appearances are really bad. And there's two that stand out to me. One is Boba Fett, and the other is this character in this movie, Darth Maul. Where in this movie, yeah, he's cool, but like the level that fans put him at and the way he became later in the animated shows, so different from this movie. And I think it kind of gives people like this movie wasn't that bad, it brought us him. Like, no, this movie stinks, not good, real bad, oof, mega bad. And that's my number 10.
Okay. My 9, Solo. I honestly have nothing to say about this movie. This was just like I don't even think I can remember this movie that well, and that should kind of tell you something. I just think it was unnecessary. Wasn't super into it. Yeah, I think I just got bored, frankly. Like, it could be a good movie. I was just very bored with the story, and yeah, that's why it's my 9.
Understandable.
Don't have a lot to say about that.
No, understandable. My number 9 is the last of the movies I consider bad, and that would be The Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker is not good. It uses a lot of the stuff that was set up in The Last Jedi and ignores it and retcons it and is just really bad. I think this is the punishment that Disney kind of deserved by not starting off with a 3-story arc structure when they made these movies, their trilogy. And it's just a real waste of what could have been something special. I do think that them rehashing Palpatine and making Rey Palpatine's, her granddaughter, is so embarrassing something on all levels. And it's just sad to see that that's what Star Wars kind of became. The one good thing from this movie is, I would say, the last 4 minutes with Rey kind of looking out and seeing on Tatooine and seeing what the future can hold. I also think her yellow lightsaber rocks. Like, it's very cool. But just a shame. And I think the biggest thing here is the waste of Finn's character, which could have been great. And he was basically just turned into a standing off in the distance kind of guy. But yeah, not good. You talked about it already. Not a good movie.
Yeah, Finn rocks. I don't know why they just threw him to the side. I had something to say. Oh, yeah, I completely disagree. Last 4 minutes are booty.
I like when she looks and sees Leia and Luke. I think that's a really nice touch, because especially when she says, like, Rey Skywalker is cringe, but I think the idea behind it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna wave the bullshit flag on that one. Her saying Rey Skywalker is the worst. That sucked. And then she just like takes Luke's spot or his place and looking out on Tatooine. Doesn't she bury his lightsaber too or something?
Yes, but see, here's why I like that. No. I don't like her saying Rey Skywalker, but I like the idea of that because it shows that Star Wars will carry on.
No.
Star Wars has a future outside of the Skywalkers. It can keep going without these 3 characters.
At that point, say Rey Palpatine. Show like that she's good, even though her last name is Palpatine.
I think she should have just said I'm Rey.
Or just not say anything and just
no.
End
When
the
that
movie.
Woman is like, "Who are you?" Just say I'm Rey, because it could have been her moment of being her own person. It could have been her moment of saying, "It doesn't matter who my past is. I am my own person, and I'm moving forward." Instead, she said, "I'm Skywalker," which like the sentiment is fine, but like it's a dumb execution. But I think the idea is there.
Everyone in that audience, when she said Rey Skywalker, did the SpongeBob like, "Oh, brother, that sucks." Also, if your redeeming quality is a yellow lightsaber, like that's cool. Like, okay, yeah, a yellow lightsaber is cool. That's all though.
It's 9 on my list. It's not 1.
No, I know, but you said the last 4 minutes are good, and I just disagree. So I
think that they are good.
No, I don't.
All right, give me your number 8.
My number 8 is Force Awakens. I think I'm going to be a broken record here, like the rest of Star Wars fans. It's literally A New Hope.
Yeah,
just more modern.
My number 8 is also Force Awakens.
It's literally just a New Hope. It's just, yeah.
They did the all-time if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
yeah. Also,
stinks.
I was articulating this to you a couple weeks ago. Another problem I have with the new Star Wars is I feel like old Star Wars, it has awkward dialogue and script and filming, you know? Mm-hmm. And these new ones are like modern movies. They're too clean. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I like a little, what's the word?
Little grit and grime.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like the prequels, I mean the originals obviously they were made in the 70s and 80s. Of course they're going to have that. And the prequels, they had better effects. You know, the lightsabers looked better and they had better fights because they had the capabilities, but they still had that kind of gritty dialogue, a little bit choppy, and some people critique that, but I think it's endearing in Star Wars. I really like that.
I disagree. I think a big issue for me in this movie is the waste. We already mentioned it, but the waste of Finn as a character. Mm-hmm. Finn could have been the epitome of Star Wars, where anyone can become the hero, and then they waste him. Like, to have it be where Finn goes from basically a guy who mops the floors on a Star Destroyer to then becoming the hero of the rebellion would have been so fascinating. But instead they just decided to stink it up and make whatever they made.
Have a little kiss between Kylo Ren and Rey.
Ugh. It should have been Rey and Finn. Stand by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's both of our number 8s.
Cool. So, glad we agree on that.
7.
Don't think we'll agree again.
Best thing in that movie? In the beginning when Kylo Ren gets shot and then he freezes the blast in place. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like you really literally cool. What was this, 2014 it released? 2016?
Yeah.
You go to the movie, first 5 minutes, he freezes what is it?
Yeah. And you're like, we're back.
Yeah, that was sick. Menacing. Yeah. Okay. My 7 is Attack of the Clones.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's not a great movie. Like, it's probably the worst movie of those 6 prequels and originals. It gave us Jango Fett. He's pretty cool. I thought his...
Oh, boy.
I thought he was cool. Jango Fett's sick. I think Obi-Wan's character gets a little development. I think the fights are cool. Besides that, though, Anakin's kind of just like a whiny baby.
Yeah.
He's like, he's a teen. So
C-3PO and R2-D2 go through that stupid droid factory one more time. My God.
Yeah. It wasn't great, but that's why it's my 7. It's better than any of the sequels.
That's why it's your 7. All right, this is the now everything for me above here is in the good category. So my number 7 is Solo. I disagree with you. I think Solo is good. I think there's a lot of awesome things there. I think Alden Ehrenreich as Solo is really solid. And I would have loved to seen Solo too. The Kessel Run was cool. I think Lando is awesome, and they're making that spin-off show apparently. But
of course they are.
No, I would have loved. I really like Solo.
I'm happy for you.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Also, like the ending was pretty cool. With we got Darth Maul. It's pretty sick. So. I like Solo.
Cool.
You don't. That's okay. You don't have to like Solo.
All right. My 6. This one, okay. My 6 is Rogue One. Boo. Which is low on a lot of lists.
Boo.
Yeah, it's low. But that's just because the top 5, I like them so much. And I can't justify putting that above any of them because if I'm going purely based off of enjoyment, like I enjoy the 5 above so much. So, but Rogue One, I thought it was really good. I thought it was obviously it's a great story. Gives some backstory on A New Hope. I think the Darth Vader scene at the end may be the greatest minute, 60 seconds of Star Wars in all of the movies. That was crazy. And yeah, filming was cool. I like the planet they ended up on, like that tropical planet.
Yeah.
That battle was sick. Yeah. Good movie.
No, I agree. So my number 6 is Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
I really like Return of the Jedi. I think it's obviously the weakest out of the original 3 Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of Ewoks in general. I think they're fine.
I love them.
But I just think it's the weakest of the original 3. I think that Darth Vader's story ended well. And I don't know. It's not bad in any way. It's just 6 for me. Like, it's just one of those things where there's more. There's 5 other movies where more good outweighs it, and it's just in 6.
Yep.
So,
that's fair.
Nothing really negative to say about it. It's just not.
Have you ever played Battlefront 2 Ewok Hunt?
Oh, it's scary.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
When all the lights go out, whoa.
And you just get
Yeah.
bombarded.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 5. Here we go.
Top 5. Here we are.
Here we go. Okay. My 5. You're not going to like this. A lot of people won't like this. Phantom Menace. I love Phantom Menace.
Oh, brother. This stinks.
No. I really like Phantom Menace because of Duel of the Fates. I love it. I think that fight, aside from that 60 seconds of Vader at the end of Rogue One, is probably my favorite. Nope. Sorry, Mustafar. That third favorite. Duel of the Fates is my third favorite fight. Okay?
Whatever.
I don't know. I can't really... I just think Phantom Menace was very interesting. Like, they go underwater to that... I forget what planet. The Gungan planet? Not planet?
I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay. Qui-Gon is probably one of my top 3 Jedi. The only one I'd probably put ahead is... You don't like Qui-Gon?
I don't like Duel of the Fates.
You don't like Duel of the Fates?
I think it's over-choreographed. I think the song is incredible. I think the fight in and of itself is not great.
Okay. That's just stupid.
Look, listen, it's an opinion. It's an opinion.
Yeah, it is an opinion. I don't think it's over choreographed. I think it's beautiful. I think that's the first good fight we got in Star Wars because the originals couldn't do that. And I think it was just
hey man, you're allowed
a hell of a conclusion to that first movie, and the music rocked.
Music was quite good.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Gungans. I know Jar Jar is really annoying to a lot of people. I thought it was funny. So, yeah, Phantom Menace number 5.
My number 5 is Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Easily the best of the prequel trilogy by far. That opening scene is incredible with them on their fighters, and I think that the last battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin is great. I think there's a lot of stuff in the middle that is good. Doesn't really reach exceptional territory. But I think overall this is the best of the prequel trilogies by far. I think it is the most Star Wars feeling of those movies. And I think I give it like a 4 stars. Like, I think it's great. It's just number 5 for me.
It doesn't reach exceptional territory.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I don't adore it, as someone
Dude,
said.
Okay. I'll save my comments for when I put Revenge of the Sith, but I just think that's a silly place to put it. You talk all about this character development. You get the most character development of Anakin Skywalker, and you throw it in the number. You put the most character development movie in probably the greatest villain in cinematic history, and you put that at your number 5.
If you're not with me, you're my enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's number 5. It's not 10. It's 5.
Okay. 4, Return of the Jedi. I agree. Probably the weakest. I mean, definitely the weakest of the originals. But I also agree. Capped off the trilogy well. Got a redemption of Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. The ending scene with all the Ewoks, the celebration. I really like that too. Yeah, besides, I mean, I don't really have a lot of other things to say. I just prefer the originals, and I think it was a really good way to cap them off.
I think this movie is hurt most by the re-editing that George Lucas did, where he added the CGI stuff to it, where he added more celebrations at the end. He added the band at Jabba's palace, and they became CGI instead of puppets. With what's his name?
Max Rebo.
Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers.
Yeah, they rock.
They rock. But yeah, no, we both like that movie quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is The Last Jedi. Let me tell you why. Which, this just comes back to how we fundamentally disagree about Star Wars. To me, Star Wars is about moving forward. To me, Star Wars is about, you have the Force that goes through everything, and it should continue on without the same 5 people around. And The Last Jedi is all about that, where Luke, at the end, finally realizes that no matter what he does, no matter if he tries to end the Jedi Order, it doesn't matter, because he is not the Jedi Order. The Jedi Order is so much more than just him. And it continues on. And even at the end, that little kid pulls the broom in.
And then they do nothing with it, ever again.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they do nothing with it, because that symbolizes that there is still hope for the universe. There is still others out there that can have this gift, that can have this potential. They just have to be found. And I really like that from a storytelling aspect, because the idea of The Last Jedi is true. Luke was the last traditional Jedi, because something new is coming from it. In the same way that Kylo kind of killed, when he killed Snoke, he kind of killed the last traditional Sith. There's something new that became of both of them. Rey and Kylo became a new version of whatever the Sith and Jedi Order were. Yoda literally comes in and says it. It's like, you have to change over time. It doesn't matter what the Jedi texts say, that you can be something more. There is a fluidness to what the Force can be, and there's a fluidness to what the Jedi can be. And I think that is exactly what Star Wars is about, and that's why it's done so well. Now, your argument is that nothing happens, which I completely disagree, because I think it sets up so much of what is to come that they choose to ignore. And that's my main issue with it. I think that the Luke stuff is great, because, let's be honest, he was that character. Yes, we can want Luke to show up to a battlefield and pull Star Destroyers out of the sky with the Force, but that's never who he was. He was always the kid from Tatooine who was given a shot, and the shot then was to become the greatest hero in the universe, but at the end of the day, he was still that kid from Tatooine who made mistakes. And I think that's so interesting, and what he finally realizes as well is that it's not on him to determine what the Force and what the Jedi can be, but it's on everyone else to kind of create their own path and create their own future, and it rocks. So I'm not going to let you take this one away from me. The Last Jedi is good.
As a pro-midichlorian guy, I disagree with all of that.
See, but why do you like midichlorians?
Because that's why Anakin is the most powerful Force user in history, because he had the most. He was literally breeded to be that.
No, but why can't he just be born
like a regular Joe Schmo?
No, why can't he just be more powerful because he's just born more powerful? In the same way that some people are born with...
He is born more powerful because he's born with more midichlorians.
No, but my issue with midichlorians is it limits who can become special and who can become heroes.
Does Han Solo have midichlorians? Is he still a hero and is he special?
No, but that's not... The idea is that if you have midichlorians, you can wield the Force. Where I think the argument is anyone can wield the Force if they tap into it. In the same way that Luke says, the Force flows through all of us. It's just the fact you have to understand it. Where, kind of, he does. Where, remember at the end of, Return of the Jedi, like, Han Solo feels that something is wrong? Same way. The Force can speak to him. And so anyone can have the Force. And I don't have an issue with there being something where, some people are just more predisposed to feeling it and more powerful. That's not an issue, but I think it should almost be like a muscle where, like, if you can work it out, you can become more powerful.
I think that's fair.
I just think it's a bad
I don't think that anyone should be able to
stance.
use the Force. I think anyone should be able to tap into it, but not use it. You know, like, I'm fine with the feeling, because that's, like, gut. That's intuition. But actually,
in the same way that in Rogue One, the blind man used the Force. He didn't use the Force, but he tapped into the Force, where he was like, the Force is one, I am one with the Force is with me. And, like, I think that is interesting as a concept, versus, I just so happen to be born with more midichlorians. I can now do cool stuff. Like, I think that it should come...
Well, I think everyone is born with midichlorians. It's just the level in which you have, that's how much you can tap into the Force. So, like, technically, yes, everyone does have them. I think that's the whole thing. It's just, like, Anakin had an astronomical number, and that's why he was destined and had the potential to be the greatest Jedi/Sith in all of Star Wars history. So, like, that blind dude probably had midichlorians. He was able to tap into it, but, like, inevitably...
doesn't that discount what Obi-Wan was able to do?
No.
Like, Obi-Wan had a lower level of midichlorians. So, in theory, he should be a much weaker Jedi, but because he was able to train and become who he was able to defeat Anakin.
Obi-Wan wasn't a great Force user. He was a really good dualist. That was his thing.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
He was all defense. I think he mastered... There are either 7 or 8 forms of what is it, like, of lightsaber. And he had mastered, I think, all of them, and he was inherently a defender. And he was able to capitalize on enemies and recognize what kind of duelist they were, and he was able to counter them perfectly. He wasn't...
Yeah.
Force-wise, he didn't have the advantage when it came to the Force. He was just a master duelist, which is why he was able to do so well. He was also really smart and wise.
Yeah.
It wasn't about his Force abilities, which is why he was... I'm not discounting him.
No, I just think that the ending of The Last Jedi is great, because Luke finally stands up to, Kylo, but he's not the hero of that day. Rey is. Rey saved everyone. Rey finally tapped into the Force and moved all those rocks so that they could be saved and fight another day. And Kylo's anger and hubris is what really drove them to lose that day. I think that's a really interesting way to kind of go about it. And I think that the, Broom Kid is...
Broom Kid.
But I think that's what Star Wars is about, that anyone can become the hero. Anyone can become the world's and the galaxy's greatest Jedi, as long as there's hope. And I think that that's what that movie is about, and I think it's great.
If that's your takeaway, I think that's fair. That's just not really my takeaway. So that's why I'm not the biggest fan.
Hey, to each his own. But now we're on to podium. Top 3.
Number 3, New Hope. Open up
same.
the... Same?
Same. Yep. Number 3 is A New Hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you have to say about it? I mean, it just opened up the trilogy. It was a great opener. It got everyone interested. It set up Luke's character really well. Had a really good ending with Obi-Wan's defeat. Introduced Vader very well as well.
I think it's great. I think that it works so well and is such a well-done one-film movie where, like, you get to set up a universe, you get to explore the universe, you get to kind of see the conclusion of what could have been the universe. And I think it's great. I just think it's done so well, and I think it just works amazing. And the fact that a random line in that movie about the Clone Wars then led to so much more is just incredible. And
I agree.
It's hard to argue against the original because it's just done so well.
Yep.
But yeah,
cool.
My
number 2 is Revenge of the Sith, where it should be.
Okay.
I kind of voiced this earlier, but Revenge of the Sith, you have the greatest villain in cinematic history, in my opinion. Greatest villain in cinematic history. You get a just beautiful way to tell his story, what happens to him, why he goes the way he does, falls to the dark side. You get one of the greatest, actually the greatest lightsaber duel in history. It's literally like 15 minutes of just epic music on a lava planet fighting.
And it goes back to the Emperor and Yoda, which is sick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What else was I going to say? You get 2 really awesome dialogues the one before the Mustafar battle and the one after, while Anakin has no legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just near perfection in my opinion.
Agree. It's a great movie. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's easily the best of the new movie. Oh, the prequel trilogy. My number 2 is Rogue One.
Okay.
I love this movie. I think it is probably... No, do I want to say that? Yeah, I'll say that. I think objectively... No, I disagree with what I'm about to say. Never mind. I was about to say something else. That's crazy, now that I think about it more.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say maybe it's the best movie of the Star Wars movies, like from a filmmaking standpoint, but I still think my number 1 is better.
We have the same number 1.
Yeah, we do. I think my Rogue One is just unbelievable from a scale aspect, from an action aspect. I think the fact that you were able to do so much with such a small story, I think the way it's taken seriously is really important. And the ending, what a it's so simple to think about, like, oh, they had to all die, right? Because that was like, oh, they in the line from In A New Hope, they all died. But I think what works so well is that they didn't cop out of that. It could have been so easy to be like, oh, they got on a shuttle and escaped. But Star Wars and Disney stuck to the fact that they had to die, and I think that worked really, really well.
I agree.
I think Andor is a great character. Now we got that show. But yeah, no, give me more serious Star Wars because I love it. But yeah, our number 1s, which are, I think, the same.
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire. So, number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad we agree on this. If you had put this in, like, your number 5 or something, I would have...
Come on.
But
Empire is great.
Yeah.
So much happens in this movie.
You get the greatest line. No, I'm your father.
No, I am your father.
Mm-hmm.
So good. But yeah, like Hoth is an amazing battle. Dagobah is great. The final scene, you go to Cloud City.
Yep.
Incredible. Introduced to Lando, who's all-time good character. I think the way that this movie... I think there's very few sequels in the world that take stuff from the first movie and make it immediately better on every single level. Back to the Future is like this, Star Wars is like this, and John Wick is like this. Where you can take the elements that worked so well and just multiply them by 10. And Empire does this in such a way that is amazing. Also gave us like the sickest tauntauns ever.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. But yeah, also this was the movie that really turned Princess Leia, I think, into such a bigger hero. Like in A New Hope, she is a hero, and she fights back for herself and does really well. But I think this movie like makes her into the general, which I think is great, and I think that's a really big aspect of her character that comes from this movie. Yep,
we get Luke's training too. Meet Yoda.
Yeah, he gets like so good, so good, dude.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Wow, this movie's a rock. All right, do a quick run through of your 11 through 1 again.
All right, starting from 11, Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, Solo, Force Awakens, Attack of the Clones, Rogue One, Phantom Menace, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back.
My number 11 is Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, Solo, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, The Last Jedi, A New Hope, Star Wars, Rogue One, and The Empire Strikes Back.
Sweet.
So good. So yeah, looking ahead at next week, I don't think anything is really releasing besides Miller's Girl, which I don't think is wide, so we might not have a chance to see that. Anything we want to review next week, I think we could do it now if people have a chance to watch it before we review it next week.
So anything out that we haven't seen?
I think we should pick an older movie that you haven't seen.
Henry was talking about watching Rocky. I've seen that.
Okay.
But I haven't reviewed it. Like, I don't have it on
the first
Letterboxd.
Rocky.
Okay.
All right. Next week we'll do the first Rocky as our review. And maybe we'll do the greatest music movie moments or something as a draft. We'll figure out a nice draft for that.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening or watching on YouTube. Please subscribe, like the podcast, give us 5 stars. We're now on more platforms, which is exciting and fun. And be sure to follow us back on social media and Letterboxd. But for Hunter, this is Charles, and thank you so much for listening. Have a great one.